Hello students. So we will continue with the compass surveying. So here in the last class you have seen what different types of bearings we have and what different types of compass we have. We have seen prismatic compass, surveyor's compass, and what different parts we have in both the compass, as well as we have even seen what different comparison you have between the two compass. Most of the times in the question paper it has been asked to differentiate prismatic compass and surveyor's compass. So I insist you to look upon the differences very carefully and try to write the way how it is being represented in our slide. So moving forward, we will see how we will have the bearings measured in prismatic compass, how to set the prismatic compass, and how to read the angle from the compass. So we will see what are temporary adjustments of the compass. Temporary adjustments of a compass, I mean the word temporary adjustments is very new to you people, and this is the first equipment actually you are learning in your surveying subject. So let me introduce what exactly mean by a temporary adjustment first. Any equipment you take in surveying, there are adjustments to be made before you start using that particular equipment. So if I am using a compass, before I start using the compass, I need to make the adjustments. In a similar way, you will find many other equipments like dumpy level, theodolite, or total station. So any equipment you take, you need to first carry out the temporary adjustments. So what are mean by temporary adjustments is, whenever you use your equipment or whenever you shift your equipment from one point to another point, any prerequisites to be made or pre-adjustments to be made to use that equipment is a temporary adjustment. For an example, if I have to use a compass, if I start working on a particular land or particular survey area, if I am taking compass, as soon as I start using compass, I need to have some adjustments done prior to the work to begin. And whenever I have to move the compass from one point to another point, once again I have to carry out these adjustments. So whenever you want to have any start up the work, or whenever you want to move the equipment from one point to another point, you need to carry out some of the adjustments which are called as temporary adjustments. Why the name given temporary is because every time you move the equipment you need to do it once again. So that is the reason why they are called as temporary. So there are adjustments which are permanent. So permanent adjustments of compass, permanent adjustments of dumpy level, permanent adjustments of theodolite. So for different equipments you will find permanent adjustments. So if there are any kind of error which is occurring in the equipment every time you use the equipment, then you need to carry out permanent adjustments. So if you start using the equipment which is having some error, then every reading you observe from that particular equipment will always have some error. So in such cases, to first verify whether the equipment is correct or not, you carry out some of the test. So you test the equipment first, then if you feel, I mean if the test says that particular equipment has got some error, then you need to go for permanent adjustment. In a similar way, if that particular test says that the equipment doesn't have any kind of error, then you may continue using the equipment without undergoing permanent adjustments. So only temporary adjustments are sufficient. So it depends on what level you need the accuracy. So based on the level of accuracy you want for your work, you can decide whether to carry out the work with temporary adjustments alone, or you should have the equipment checked once for permanent adjustments. So If I have to go for permanent adjustments, then you need to know what are the different steps involved in that. So for every equipment you will be having different permanent adjustments, right? In a similar way we will have temporary adjustments. So whenever you start working with the compass, before you start working you need to carry out temporary adjustment, as well as whenever you shift the compass from one point to another point you need to carry out the temporary adjustments. So compass has got three temporary adjustments. So the first one is centering, second one is labeling, and third one is focusing the prism, right? So whenever you take the compass, you always have the two parts of it. One is compass box and another is tripod stand. So first thing what you need to carry out while doing the work is first fix up the compass to the tripod stand. So in the diagram below you can easily see that the compass is being fit to the tripod stand, right? So tripod will have three legs, so that is the reason why it is called tripod. So tripod will be placed on a firm ground with the legs wide open. Then you will fix the compass by using the ball and socket arrangement screw head. So you will hold the compass in one hand, that is preferably on the left hand. So you hold the compass with the left hand, keep it over the tripod stand, and then start rotating the screw head with your right hand. This is the way of fixing the compass to the tripod stand. So you are not supposed to rotate the compass to fix up the compass to the tripod stand. It is always insisted for rotating the compass, I mean rotating the socket screw without rotating the compass. So you should always keep it in your mind that you should not rotate the compass, you should only rotate the screw at the bottom which is provided over the tripod stand. Here, so first thing is to fix up. Then comes the temporary adjustment. The first temporary adjustment is centering. Centering means keeping the compass exactly over the station point. This is centering. So if I am going to measure the bearing of one line, you should keep the compass exactly at the beginning point or the end point of that line. So when you want to keep the compass over exactly at a point, then it is possible only by carrying out the centering work. So you should place the compass exactly over the ground point. So definitely it is not that easy that you simply keep it over the ground point. The accuracy is very most important, because the bearing which you are going to calculate depends on the centering. So if the centering is not correct, then automatically the bearing measured will not be the correct one. So that is the reason when you keep the compass over the station mark, you should place it to the utmost accuracy, right? So you have to place it precisely so that you get the correct bearing of that line. So for placing the compass over the tripod stand, you should either use a plumb bob. By suspending a plumb bob at the bottom of the compass, you can mark the point where the bob is touching the ground. So whenever you are unavailable with the plumb bob, the easiest way to locate the point where the compass is kept is by dropping a stone from the bottom of the compass. So you should hold the stone at the bottom of the compass exactly at the center, bottom of the compass in the sense bottom of the tripod, joint there. So just below the legs where the three legs are joining. So you are supposed to hold a stone and you should allow it to fall freely by just leaving it from the center. So whatever is the point where it falls is the point where the compass is kept. So you are supposed to mark that point. So if compass is to be placed over the mark the point on the ground, if already there is a point marked on the ground and if you want to place the compass, then when you drop the stone, you need to check whether the stone is being dropped exactly over the point or not. If the stone is falling exactly at the point, then you have kept the compass exactly on the point. If it is falling sideways, then you are supposed to move the compass and place it such a way that the stone falls exactly on the point marked. So it is a repetitive process. You need to do it again and again to confirm. So once it falls on the point which is required, it is not the end. You need to cross verify it 2 to 3 times to confirm whether the station mark is the compass is placed exactly over the station mark or not. So this is the first temporary adjustments in a compass. And second temporary adjustment is labeling. Labeling in the sense what? So when you rotate the compass, you should you should have the magnetic needle freely oscillating. Freely oscillating in the sense what? The needle is not touching the glass plate either, or it is not touching even the bottom of the compass. So you should always have the needle without touching the glass or the compass box. So keep this in your mind. So this labeling is done by moving the compass or by changing the angle of the compass. Like, since the compass has got ball and socket arrangement of fixing this to the tripod, so tripod has got ball and socket arrangement. So when you want to move the compass or rotate the compass, you can easily do it, right? So you should have the needle can be easily seen through the glass at the top of the compass box. So if I have to rotate, if I have to check whether the labeling is proper, or whether the what you can say, whether the needle is freely moving or not, this you can confirm by rotating the compass once. By giving a compass a swing, you can check. So when you give a swing, if needle is rotating along with the compass box, then definitely it is not labeled, right? That means what? Needle is under the influence of the compass box, right? So when the compass box is rotated, you should make sure that only compass box rotates, not the needle along with the graduated circle. Since needle and graduated circle are attached to each other, so they cannot move independently, they will move together. So when you rotate the compass, you should not have the needle moving. So that is the way how you confirm that the needle is labeled or the compass is labeled. So in case if you are finding that it is moving along with the compass box, then you are supposed to label it properly, so that the compass, when you rotate, you don't find any kind of movement in the magnetic needle along with the graduated circle. Now the third temporary adjustment is focusing the prism. So focusing the prism in the sense what, when you sight a particular point through the slit, so you are supposed to read the angle or nothing but the bearing of that particular line. So when you want to read that, you are supposed to see a small opening provided at the bottom of the prism slit. So when you read that particular reading, you may not be able to read it properly because of the eyesight. So moving the prism up or down will help you in making the graduations very clear and distinct, so that you can easily read them. So depending upon your eyesight, you are supposed to adjust the prism by moving it up or down to read the angle. So the first temporary adjustment is centering, that is nothing but keeping the compass exactly over the station point. Second one is labeling. So labeling in the sense what, when you rotate the compass, needle should not rotate. So that is done by moving the compass or rotating the compass, so that when you label it, you should not have any movement of the needle when you rotate the compass. and finally focusing the prism in the sense what, moving the prism up or down to get the graduations clear and distinct. So try to remember these temporary adjustments of a compass. So these temporary adjustments are to be made for every new station. Whenever you move the compass from one point to another point, you are supposed to do all these three. Clear? Then when you want to use the compass for measuring the bearing, right? So how exactly it is done, right? So on the right side of your slide, you can see that there is line AB. I want to measure the bearing of line AB. Bearing means what? Angle made by that line with respect to north. So from north, what is the angle of that line AB? So that is what is required. So in such case, what you need to do is, you need to select which point you are going to start with. AB in the sense what? A is the starting point of the line, B is the end point of that line. So if A is the starting point, if I am going to measure the bearing at point A, then it becomes 4 bearing of the line. If I keep the compass on point B and if I measure the bearing at point B, that is the end point of the line AB, then that bearing will become back bearing of that line. So at what point you measure the bearing, that will that will be the identification of that bearing. Like the beginning point, if you measure the bearing, it is 4 bearing. If it is measured at the end point, then it is back bearing of the line. And even you know how to convert 4 bearing to back bearing to 4 bearing, in the sense how to find the back bearing when 4 bearing is now. So the difference between 4 bearing and back bearing will always be 180 degree. Remember this, right? Because to get the back bearing of the line when 4 bearing is given, you either add or subtract 180 degree from 4 bearing. So if 4 bearing is less than 180 degree, you add 180 degree to get the back bearing of the line. And if 4 bearing is greater than 180 degree, you subtract 180 degree from 4 bearing to get the back bearing of that line. So now line AB is one thing. So I want to measure the 4 bearing of line AB. So if I want to measure the 4 bearing of line AB, then where I should keep the compass? Definitely at point A. So keep the compass at point A. Now remember, point A is on the ground. Line AB itself is on the ground. So A is the ground point. So keeping the compass over the ground point, that is the first temporary adjustment. So remember, centering. So centering means what? Keeping the compass exactly over the station mark. Point A is one such station. So you are supposed to fix up the compass to the tripod leg and keep the tripod leg exactly over point A. So when you drop the stone from the center of the compass, it should fall on point A. So if it is not falling on point A, then you are supposed to move the compass in a way to get the stone falling on exactly point A. So this is one thing what you need to do, that is centering. Then you are supposed to level the compass. Check once you rotate the compass and see whether a needle also rotates with the compass or what. So if it is moving along with the compass, then that means what? The compass is not leveled. So you need to move the compass slightly on a horizontal plane, so that compass becomes perfectly leveled, and when you rotate the compass, needle should not rotate along it. Then you are supposed to check the focusing of the prism by moving prism up or down. You should suit your eyesight and make the graduations clear and distinct. Now you have kept the compass on point A and you have carried out all the temporary adjustments. Now you are supposed to keep one ranging rod on point B, because sighting will become very easy when there is a ranging rod kept. So take one ranging rod and keep it on point B. So that ranging rod is supposed to be sighted through the compass. So when you have kept the compass on point A, you are supposed to rotate the compass and you are supposed to have the line of sight along point B. So you should be sighting through the prism, right? And object vane must be towards point B. Object vane will have a opening, right? And at the center of the opening you will have a thread attached. So that thread should be exactly over the ranging rod when you see it through the eye slit. So eye slit and the object vane will form one line, and that line should go and coincide with the ranging rod, right? So ranging rod will be on exactly, I mean the thread on the object vane should be exactly on the ranging rod. So that is what is called as sighting, right? So you have sighted the object. So object is point P and nothing but the ranging rod kept on object P. Now if you just look at the left side diagram, so line of sight can be seen as AB. North is written 180, south is written 0. I have told you why it is written 0 on south and north on, I mean 180 on north, right? Because you are reading the angle on the opposite side of the observation. So object is at towards north side and you are reading it out towards the south side. So you can see at the left hand side prism and eye slit is written. So there you are supposed to read the angle. So definitely with respect to north, the line AB makes around 35 to 40 degree. That can be easily measured at the prism side, right? So the compass will have degrees and minutes, right? So the minimum angle which can be measured in the compass will be 30 minutes, half of a degree, because 1 degree means 60 minutes, right? So every degree is subdivided into two equal parts, and one single part will be of half degree, and half degree is nothing but 30 minutes. So maximum, I mean minimum angle which can be measured with the help of a compass will be 30 minutes, or nothing but the accuracy of the compass is to 30 minutes. Half of a degree can also be measured with this. Clear? So this is how the angle is measured with the help of a compass, right? So you will be doing the experiments in your future, and your, so wherein you will be dealing with the compass for number of experiments where you will be reading the angles. Moving forward, there are some of the important terms which are supposed to be understood. So the first thing is magnetic dip. Magnetic dip in the sense what? As I have told you, magnetic needle should always have horizontal position, right? But in some of the cases, you will find magnetic needle bending slightly downward, right? Like the way it is shown in the diagram. So it is actually supposed to be looking, I mean, having its position horizontal, but you may find that magnetic needle is slightly bending. So where such things generally happen is towards the pole, side. I mean at the equator region you will find the magnetic needle standing perfectly horizontal. As you move towards north or south, you find that the magnetic needle slightly bend downward. So this bending of magnetic needle slightly downward is called as dip. Dip is nothing but the angle, right? The vertical angle made by the horizontal position of the magnetic needle and the inclined position of the magnetic needle. So why this generally happens is because magnetic lines or the electromagnetic lines will be continuously moving around the earth's surface. When that will be continuously moving towards the earth's surface, as they approach the earth's surface, from the poles they generate and they subside at the equator region. So when such things happen, so at the equator region you find both the lines originating from north pole or south pole both coinciding, and they will be hitting the equator region. So effect of those electromagnetic needles will get nullified because of the opposite directions. But when you move towards north pole or south pole, what happens is you will find only the one kind of waves generating from north and moving towards equator region. So in such case they will tend to bend the magnetic needle. So because of the continuous large number of such magnetic waves which are continuously running throughout the earth's surface, they will tend to bend the magnetic needle, and that is the reason why you find the magnetic needle slightly bent. And at the poles, exactly when you hold the magnetic needle at north pole, you will find the magnetic needle completely touching the ground, or completely having its position vertical, right? And even at the south pole if you go, you will find the magnetic needle completely dipping. You can say almost 90-degree dip at the magnetic poles or north pole or south poles of the earth. So this is what is magnetic dip. One more term you need to understand here is magnetic declination. So magnetic declination is something which is different from magnetic dip. Magnetic declination is a horizontal angle. So magnetic dip is a vertical angle. Magnetic declination is a horizontal angle. So what is this is? It is the angle between true meridian and magnetic meridian. So if you remember, I have told you what is true meridian and I have told you what is magnetic meridian. True meridian means what? Line joining true north and true south, right? So there is a north pole of the earth and there is south pole of the earth. If you join north and south pole by a line, then it is called as true meridian. Whereas magnetic meridian is the line shown by the magnetic needle. So definitely magnetic north and true north will not be coinciding. It rarely happens. True north and true south are fixed quantities or fixed points on the earth's surface, whereas magnetic north and magnetic south are not fixed because of the magnetic power or magnetic property of the earth keep on changing. So as the tectonic rocks moves inside the earth's surface, magnetic properties of the earth changes. So because of that, you find there is a variation in the magnetic north of the earth and magnetic south of the earth. So magnetic needle, if you hold it at a place at a particular day, you will find one direction. At some other day, if you go and hold it at the same point, you still find a different magnetic north. So this is the reason magnetic north is not a fixed entity, whereas true north or true south are fixed. So sometimes when you hold the magnetic needle and if you find the relation between true meridian and magnetic meridian, there is a difference there, and that angle between that true meridian and magnetic meridian is called as magnetic declination, right? So true north is shown perfectly vertical there. Magnetic north is shown with the red colored north symbol or north magnetic needle, you can see. So magnetic north may be on the right side of the true north or it might be on the left side of the true north. So magnetic north, if it is on the right side of the true north, then it is called as eastern. It is towards east, isn't it? Magnetic needle is slightly on the east side. So if it is exactly on the north, then there may be called as zero declination, right? So if it is bent towards east, then it is eastern. Remember, magnetic declination is also an angle. You can say that it is an error, right? So error between meridians. So error in the meridians. So it is on the right hand side in the sense what it is. If it is towards east side, then it is called as eastern or it is positive declination. We call it as a positive declination. If magnetic north is on the left side of the true north, in the sense what if it is towards the west side, then it is called as western declination, or it is also called as negative declination, right? So if it is on the west side, it is negative declination. If it is on the north side, east side, it is a positive declination. Why it is called as positive declination and why it is called as negative declination? There is a reason. So when I know what is the declination at a particular place, and if I know what is the bearing of certain line, right? There is a line AB and I have found the bearing of the line AB. So in a previous example you have seen, if bearing of line AB is 35 degree and if declination of that particular place is 5 degree east, then true bearing can be easily found from the declination and bearing of that line. So magnetic bearing of the line is 35 degree, declination at the place is 5 degree east. Then true bearing of the line will be that particular angle with respect to north. To show you in a proper way, I will have a line AB drawn. So let us say that this is line AB and this is angle 35 degree, that is nothing but bearing of or magnetic bearing of the line AB. So if I have measured this keeping the compass at particular place, so I found that the bearing of the line is 35 degree. Now I know what is the declination at this place. Declination is 5 degree east. So east in the sense what, bearing, I mean magnetic north is towards the east of the true north. So that I am showing it here as 5 degree east, right? So magnetic bearing, in the meaning of magnetic bearing is angle between magnetic north and the line, which is given as 35 degree. And if I want a true bearing of the line, true bearing means what? Angle between true north and the line. So true north, you can see that it is vertical here and the line EB is somewhere here. So if I want the true bearing, so that means what angle is required for me? This complete angle, which I am going to show it as red colored one. So this complete angle is true bearing of that line. So how much is this angle? So definitely it is 35 plus 5. So magnetic bearing of the line plus declination is true bearing. So true bearing is equal to magnetic bearing plus declination. That is the reason why it is called as positive, right? Positive declination means you are adding it to get the true bearing of the line. So if declination is added to magnetic bearing of the line, then it is positive. So that is the reason why it is called positive declination. So why this is called negative declination is the same way. So if I want to get the true bearing, you are supposed to deduct declination here to get the true bearing of the line. So if I have to show you here, if this is line, so what is magnetic bearing? It is this. The red colored angle is magnetic bearing. What is true bearing? It is this. The yellow colored angle is the true bearing. And what is declination? Declination is western, that is negative, which is the angle between true north and magnetic north, which I am showing it as blue, right? So red is magnetic bearing, blue is declination, and yellow is true bearing of the line. So here you get the true bearing by deducting the declination. So this is the declination. So when it is called positive, when it is called negative. So eastern declination and western declination. So let us take one example. Two more terms you need to understand here, isogonic lines and agonic lines. Isogonic lines in the sense line joining the points of same declination. Same declination in the sense what, if number of points are having similar declination like 5 degrees, 5 degrees, 5 degrees, so if you join all the points, then that particular line is called as isogonic line. And in a place where there may be zero declination in the sense what, magnetic north and true north are completely in the same direction. So if you join such points, then that particular line is called as isogonic line. So agonic line. So isogonic means line drawn through the points of same declination. Agonic lines means line drawn through the points of zero declination. This is just for your information. Now if I have to find out the magnetic, I mean true bearing when magnetic bearing is given, as I have told you, there is a formula. True bearing is equal to magnetic bearing plus or minus declination. So use plus for eastern declination, use minus for western declination. As I have told you, you know how it is to be done. Clear? Now just to move ahead with the problem, this is one problem here. The problem is the magnetic bearing of a line is 48 degree 24 minutes. Calculate the true bearing of the line if the magnetic declination is 5 degree 38 minutes east. So east means positive. So just add this declination to the angle, then you will be able to get the true bearing of the line. So you refer the diagram here. So first I will draw a vertical line, call it as true meridian. True meridian in the sense what? True north. So always have the habit of having such a diagram drawn to solve the problem. So vertical line is true meridian. Then draw magnetic meridian. Why I have drawn magnetic meridian towards right side is because the given declination is east. So when this is given east, so definitely we are supposed to draw it towards the east side. So true meridian and magnetic meridian, angle between those two is 5 degree 38 minutes east. So that is what is shown here as the angle, right? Now I am going to show the line AB. I have drawn line AB at that particular angle because the magnetic bearing of the line is given 48 degree 24 minutes. 48 degree means what? Towards the first quadrant. So that is the reason why I have drawn it there. So almost resembling the angle given 48 degree 24 minutes. Now if bearing is given as magnetic bearing, that means that bearing is nothing but the angle between magnetic meridian and the line AB, 48 degree 24 minutes. Now what is asked? It is true bearing which is asked. What is true bearing? The red colored angle what you are able to see there, right? So what is that angle? It is angle between true meridian and the angle AB. Look at that. If red is required, then you just have to add magnetic bearing and the declination. So that is what the solution says here. Declination is given 5 degree 38 minutes. So true bearing is magnetic bearing plus or minus declination. Since here in the problem given declination east, so it is plus. So 48 degree 24 minutes plus 5 degree 38 minutes. So it is going to be 54 degree 2 minutes, right? So this is the solution. So there is one more problem which is very similar to the last one. So if it is possible, let us have the video out. I hope you are able to see this. So here the problem is given in terms of quadrantal bearing system. The bearing which is given is a quadrantal bearing system. So the problem says like this: magnetic bearing of a line AB is south 28 degree 30 minutes east, right? South 28 degree 30 minutes east. Calculate the true bearing if the declination is 7 degree 30 minutes west. Now it is west side. So that is the reason why I have drawn magnetic meridian towards the left side, showing it as 7 degree 30 minutes west. So line AB has got bearing south 28 degree 30 minutes east. So southeast in the sense it is in the fourth quadrant, and it makes 28 degree with respect to south. So that is south in the sense magnetic south, remember. So the bearing given is magnetic bearing. So magnetic south is somewhere there, and true meridian is perfectly vertical. So now in this case, even though it is west, you are going to add it. Why you add it here is because the given bearing is quadrantal bearing system. So when it is quadrantal bearing system, so you cannot play with plus or minus. You are supposed to draw the diagram and check what angle is required and get the bearing. So true bearing will be plus because it is with respect to south. In the earlier case, when it is with respect to north, you still deduct the bearing because bearing will always be with respect to north and it is measured in clockwise direction. So when there is reference is only one direction, then there is going to be a fixed formula. But in quadrantal bearing system, north as well as south both act as a reference. So in such case, the formula will not hold good here, right? So it is always better to have the diagram drawn and then have the solution, right? So what angle is required, what angle is given, based on that you are supposed to solve it. So if you want to solve the problems, one thing is necessary. You should know what is magnetic meridian, magnetic bearing, and you should know what is true meridian and true bearing. Unless you know the basic knowledge of these two, you will not be able to understand what the solution will be for that problem, or you will not be able to even understand the problem, right? So I request everyone to solve some more problems so that you people can become familiar with such kind of problems. So such problems will be asked in your examination, right? So this will be the end of today's class. Thank you.